Hi everyone, Sargon here. I work for VMware, now Broadcom, as a technical adoption manager. What I wanted to go through today in my own personal home lab is go through an installation of vCenter Server 8.0 Update 2. This is kind of to help walk a VI admin, right? Just getting an idea on everything it entails to install it. Of course, please always follow VMware by Broadcom's documentation that's out there for vCenter Server. And of course, if assistance needed, reach out to your support account team, for VMware by Broadcom. So starting off here, the objective for today is I have an existing vCenter that I'm keeping for my management domain, and I want to set up a second vCenter and then link them together, right? Enhanced link mode. A lot of caveats to that. It does add some additional operational overhead when you're life cycling your vCenters. But what's nice is I'm going to go for a single pane of glass and try to leverage features that come with enhanced link mode. So there are many different ways you can install vCenter Server. I'm going to be doing it through the graphical user interface option. And then there's also CLI option. You can deploy it that way, right? Scale. So I've already downloaded the ISO, mounted it, and what you see here at the screen is I'm presented with 4 options right when I run that installer.exe. I can install a new vCenter, I can upgrade, I can migrate from a Windows vCenter, or I can do a restore. So in your vCenter server, if you're taking backups via the VMware appliance, then you can actually do a restore from those backups. So a lot of different options here. For today, we're going to be doing an install. So stage 1 is going to be, once that completes successfully, stage 1 will complete, and then we'll also go through stage 2. And as you can see here, the external PSE, the Platform Services Controller, has been deprecated. So this would be also called as a embedded. So that is the only option here. Now, for step 3 here is we're gonna what are we targeting to install this appliance, and we can do this on a individual host, or we could point it to a vCenter and the inventory that's in that vCenter, such as the hosts, the networking, the storage, and where are all the resources that this vCenter installer is gonna have to reach out to and install on. So I am going to install it on an existing vCenter, and I'm going to want to log into that vCenter, authenticate with my local SSO credentials. Get a password in here. So insert, and voila. So it's already pulled down. You can see all the inventory. Where do I want to place it? I'll place it under a folder called VMware. And then if I have DRS enabled, I obviously have a cluster. I'll just go ahead and, for now, I'll just select a single host. So this here would be what is the object name of the VM that it's going to be in vCenter, not the FQDN. That's going to come up after this or later on. So I'm going to call this, just keep it simple, vCenter 02. I prefer to name them what I'm going to name the FQDN, but definitely do what makes most sense for your environment. Let's go ahead and get this is going to be the root password for the appliance. Very important to create a custom one, and then definitely create a strong password and save it. Definitely don't want to lose it. However, there are options you can recover, of course. All right, we're getting there. So I'm going to set it up as a tiny, I don't see myself having more than 10 hosts in this vCenter. Of course, I can try to resize these later on. This is only 2 CPUs and 14 gigs of RAM. Storage size is okay on default. I'm not going to make it that large. So my data store, I'm going to want to keep it on a VMFS data store I have. Now, being that my management cluster I'm deploying this on does have vSAN, I can deploy this on my vSAN data store, but I'll go ahead and keep it there, and I am going to enable in this mode. So right here, because my hosts are on a DVS and there's also local port groups, you'll see that I've got all these networks. So I'm going to want to place it on a network that, of course, is accessible. Not only accessible, but you do have an IP address for that network, right? So I know what I want to place it on, and then should be grab all this good stuff. You can tell I've done this more than once. So I'm pretty sure that's it, and I'll actually take a poke here just to make sure. And you have the right entry in DNS. So perfect. All right, cool. And I'll go ahead and continue. We're obviously going to keep HTTP and HTTPS the same ports, not changing that. And right here, we're going to get to review. And we're going to let step one finish, and we'll get right back. All right, and now we're back. So we've completed stage one. It tells us it's completed successfully. And you can see here that if the network we're on is able to reach the network the newly deployed vCenter is on, then we should be able to get to this port and continue on, get to this site over port 5480 successfully. Keep in mind, you may see this come across in a VCP, VMware Certified Professional Exam. It's also handy to know for VCAP, and as well as administrating, is that 5480 number will get you into the VAMI, the vCenter Appliance Management. So we'll go ahead and click Continue here. And we made it to stage 2. Congrats. Let's go next. Time synchronization here. I will define a NTP server. I can't stress to you how important that is. SSH access, for security reasons, I will leave it deactivated. In the future, if you ever need to get into it, obviously you can turn that on through the VAMI. That's one of the ways you can do it. And then do your troubleshooting if you need to that way. So, but for now, I will leave it deactivated. And now that it's gone through its configuration there, the SSO configuration, this is where the glue to the existing vCenter would take place. So either I can create a new SSO domain and obviously name it the vSphere.local or create my own, but I want to join an existing SSO domain. And I will give the vCenter FQDN, and it wants the administrator account for the SSO domain that we're going to be joining. And in our case, I left the default. It's vSphere.local. So I will go ahead and paste that password in there. Click Next. Of course, you're welcome to read through this through VMware's CEIP program and what kind of data gets sent over to VMware, right, to help improve products. We'll go next, and here's our confirmation, and now we will hang out for step 2 to complete. And something I did want to mention that's important, I probably should have mentioned in the beginning of the video, was ensure that you're deploying the same version of vCenter. You don't want to be on, you could be on 8.0 U2, might be on a different build, but you want to be consistent, especially when you're doing enhanced link mode. Obviously, if these are separate vCenters, you can have them at whatever version you want. And just know that this is also not the only way to create enhanced link mode. You can actually deploy this as a second vCenter and via some command line prompts, you could join that, and then replication and everything would be taking place in the back end. All right, stage 2 completed successfully, and now it's telling us, hey, you can access vCenter 02 if you'd like. And let's see if it comes up. Should have any cert applied to this one. However, as this is loading, our existing vCenter right now shows still one vCenter, but let's do a refresh. Nothing there. We might have to reload our existing VIP, or not VIP, but the vCenter itself. Let it reload. So nothing loaded at the moment. It's very possible that I need a reboot. Let's log in here and see what it looks like. Our same username and password. I'm going to try, just for giggles and laughs, close out of the browser entirely, but let's see what this one comes back with. While that's loading, I will go ahead and just launch the. Now it's screaming about licensing, which something tells me it's reading the vCenter. Maybe not yet. We can also check this way under administration. But as you can see here, we accessed vCenter 02, and we can see both vCenters. They're a single pane now. Why it's not loading in vCenter or accessing it through vCenter right this moment, we'll have to monitor. And so the item that gave it away is, hey, it's telling me you manage licenses. And something tells me there's a vCenter. Very well, almost guarantee it, but there's a vCenter. Oh, there it is. There's a vCenter. Keep saying that. That's on a eval license because it's detecting it. So, however, it's still not showing up under my objects. This part might take a little time to appear on this one, but what I'll do is, it's great that it's appearing here, but it should appear even when I launch vCenter. So what I'll do is, just to make sure nothing is cached, I'm just going to launch a entirely new browser, log in, voila. So just have to close the browser out just so that this page basically, it's not going off anything cached and just reloads all the objects. vCenter 02 is obviously a new object, so when I access that one, it sees the second vCenter on there. So there it is. I have my two vCenters in enhanced link mode now. And I will go about my business to create my data center, my cluster object. And it's already telling me that update's available, so something tells me I might be behind on a build. So let's look at this. 223, this one ends in 5739. This build is a lot newer, so 226, and this one's a 223 build. So I did something different, but obviously it works. Now, what I will do next is pretty much go in and perform a update to the vCenter, but I'll do that separately. So I hope that VI admins and anyone planning to deploy vCenter, especially setting up enhanced link mode, and hopefully you guys found this beneficial, something that you can, kind of have as an aid to, again, reviewing documentation, testing it in a lab of some sort, whether it be your home lab or a test dev environment, right? Hopefully you guys found this helpful, and definitely please like, subscribe. Take care.